Shabbat Shalom. Well, I got really excited in my spirit earlier, listening to what I posted on my Facebook, which was Howard Pittman's testimony from 1979 of being taken in an after-death experience to heaven. And you'll have to listen to that to get all that. And I might listen to it again and take notes and then sort of share those notes in a video, because I know some people don't like to listen to a long video. It is very worth listening to. It is timely, just like David Wilkerson and many other people that in the past have spoke about the church and where we're going in these end times and things that would happen, and just he does. And the thing about it is now it's resounding more powerfully than ever, really, even than it would have then. It's not all new. It's not new, but it's what's being said in the past is just reverberating in those that are watching now, those that are listening. His awake church, they're reverberating within us. That's what's freaking me out here. I'm like, the one thing that tells me there is a God, he's there, he knows who I am, I'm hearing right, this is real, there's a spirit realm, this is not all there is confirmations. When I am feeling, thinking, sensing, writing, videoing, and I think it's in my head, just in my mind, and it's so different from what other people are saying that I'm like, oh, that's just, that must be in my mind. And then you hear people of the past saying the same thing that you felt inside. And then people of today also saying something. And it's the same thing you're sensing. To me, that is the most miraculous, amazing thing that we have right now, for me. And because a lot of times I get my flesh like anyone, but there's probably times where I think, oh, that's just your mind, Patty. That's just your mind thinking. That was so easy. That was too easy, And it wasn't. And this couch is not comfortable. This is my bed right now. So his experience pointed out some realities about how things work when you die. And so it is very much worth listening to. 25 minutes into it, especially, because we are still attacked, even when we enter the valley of the shadow of death. He says that's a real place between coming out of your body and going to the next realm. It's a realm somewhere. And he said, you're still under attack there, and you could still be deceived there. And he almost was. That spoke to me in a lot of ways and gave me some understanding that's, I don't even know how I'd articulate it. I'd have to organize my thoughts to do that, but it was very interesting. And so he gave, at the end of it, 5, kind of words for this church. He said, this church, and of course this video was probably done in the 90s, or something. But he gave just what I've known. He talked about, the bride's garment is not ready. She is not ready. The church would not have been ready years ago. And I've felt, while many people, many YouTubers were just waiting for the very minute, he's coming now, tomorrow, next day. And I'm thinking, no, he's not yet, because his church isn't ready. His bride has not been tried and refined. Her garments aren't clean. She's not wholeheartedly in love with him and beautiful and purged, pruned, ready. So, I've just never borne witness with that. I mean, I think we're getting there. But if Hes Bright, people are saying, "Oh, we're going up now. It's all his blood. That's all." It's there's nothing we do. Well, he does have requirements of us. He did the work for our salvation, but he does have requirements of us. If we're to be in his family and be married to him, to be his, to be in his kingdom, to not be deceived and taken in and serve the God of this world, there's things we have to do. And he talks about the army. And how God was, and this was years ago, forming his army. Well, look at where we are now, my goodness. I just felt like, man, I feel like standing up and preaching. But then once I turned the camera on, I'm like, oh, I'm losing it. Maybe I'll take a break and think for a minute. No wonder he's pulled me out of church years ago. No wonder he's pulled a lot of people out. No wonder he's pulled people out of denominations and various things. No wonder he's upset, shaken, and disturbed some things, because it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We get a mindset that we should stay in one place and be faithful forever. Well, if he has you stay somewhere, if you're one of those stable figures to stay in that place, then you just need to listen and be there. But that's not the case a lot of times. We need to be open and flexible. This video was, one of the warnings was that he was told, your God is self. And my God is self. I mean, even, on certain levels, on a lot of levels. And that is what this Laodicean church of today is about self. We really don't know, the majority of us, including me, we really don't know what it is to please the King. To bring honor and glory to him, not to be seen, but to really let him squeeze out the beauty. See, it's in that squeezing, it's in the squeezing that it happens. It's not in the good times. It's in the squeezing that he creates something beautiful. And it's kind of one of those things, well, you can do it now or later, or never, which that's a whole nother thing. But I just, this church is just not it. Our Western, there's people in it that are okay, but overall this is not what he wants. We can't go back and lean on, we glean along the way, but don't go lean on the past and what has formed Christianity, what it is today. Because not all that is a correct foundation. And in our Western culture, we haven't got a completely clear understanding of things. I have no desire to have a house. And if I got a new car, sure, I'll drive it and enjoy it. I don't have a desire for that. I'm not, and I don't know if that's good or not, but I'm going to assume it's him calling me to whatever I need to be doing. And I'm thinking, Lord, how are you going to do this with me here? I'm too distracted. I'm too distracted with my flesh and desires and my Jesus plus thinking. I need to learn to be quiet and just, even if I'm on video, I just need to learn to be quiet and wait. I'm just not interested in a lot of what is around me in culture. And, you know, I've said this before, you could look at it two different ways, that it's a personality mood disorder issue, but maybe it's not. You know, I'm beginning to think more and more, if I'm not interested in these things, it's not because of any reason really other than it just leaves me empty. I want something more. My soul isn't satisfied. That isn't my life goal. I'm not in that. I'm not in that. And yet he has me here, and it's like, okay, what is it, God? How do I press into you without distraction? How do I go to the place where few go and really become fluid and flexible, moment to moment, not being so attached to time, culture, tradition, the days of the week, the months of the year, you know, the dailiness of our earthly lives, and you know, we just go through this ring every year. Same thing. And that's reality, earth, but the thing is, that's a reality we're used to. We're not really, most of us are not grasping for a higher culture, which is God's culture and his plans and the way he's moving and the way he wants us to be moving. His agenda. And the thing is, that doesn't necessarily mean that for me, like, you know, that doesn't mean that, like, if you want something nice or a house or car, that isn't his agenda. That doesn't mean that. His agenda doesn't just mean that, oh, I'm going to go out to the bars and sin or something. That it's not. It's a moment to moment thing of, what are you focused on this minute? Are you listening and conscious of the realm of the spirit and his reality, or are you just doing your little doldrum life, whatever that is, that suits your flesh, that suits my flesh? And it's not that everything has to be hard and bad and terrible and dark. It's not that. It's just another way of living where we are understanding the times, the seasons. We're understanding that we don't live here. This is not our final destination. And even though we are on earth to occupy, our lifestyle, the way we live, who we are, should not reflect everyday people here. It should reflect his spirit, his glory. We should be carrying the power. You know, when we talk about change the world, I'd like to change the world, but I don't know what to do. So I leave it up to you. Okay. They're missing the point. We can do good things. We can do admirable things. We can do things that bring a betterment to the world. We could shine our light. We are salt and light. But never think that carnal efforts are going to fix it all, are going to fix the real problem, which is the hearts of men. And never think that we can do it by our power. If I could just get the right philosophy and the right activist group going and just somehow get out this information, you know, look at how many platitudes we see on Facebook. Okay, those don't change my life. They don't change me. Every now and then one of them will stick. But see, we've had enough platitudes. We've had enough information. We've had enough motivators. We've had enough religions. We've had enough philosophers. We've had enough humanism. And a lot of that is really people showing their good deeds, you know. And, you know, the reality is even if you do something admirable and good, that's not your salvation. It's not going to save anyone. So, what am I saying? God's power changes things exponentially. His power can change on 1,000 what your efforts can change on a 10. Our carnal efforts aren't going to cut it. And our goal should not be to change the world and make it a better place ultimately, because this is passing away. Our goal is to bring light, carry His light, bring the message, and help set people free. Get free, set people free, see souls saved, see souls reconciled to God, see the reality of God change people. That's what matters. Not make America great again. And it's not give up and who cares. It's get on the right agenda. And you're not going to understand this agenda if you're not born again. It's not going to make sense to you. But even if you're born again, people are still just kind of living their lives, doing their church thing. Programs. Doing church. Another good message. Oh, it's such a good message. We're not anywhere near the incredibleness we can have. We're just not anywhere near it. We're not anywhere near it. He's trying to show us, and some of us are getting it. But it's not what we thought. It's not what we thought. No. I guess that's what I want to say. He's much deeper and truer and realer and holier and fiercer, but closer. He wants intimacy with us. He wants us to have intimacy with one another, but be real. Not just lip service. You know, if you have a relationship where there's just lip service, if you never go beyond a shallow level, you're not going to have a relationship. You have a convenient acquaintanceship, but that's not a relationship. Relationship takes a little bit of risk, moving a little deeper, and sometimes a conflict or a clash and working it out. You know, showing your vulnerable pearls to each other, to those that you gradually observe and see that will respect that and care for that and connect with you on that. It's the same thing with God. So really, what is it saying? I guess the Laodicean thing, it isn't like he's saying, I want you to be this big, fiery, loud, obnoxious preacher. You're so lukewarm. He's saying, I want to have your heart. I want to be your first love because I am your first love. And I'm your last. I'm your first. You're the first. You're the last. My everything. This message is so wordy, boring, disorganized. I don't even know if it's anointed, but it's what I'm trying to get it out. I could preach. Maybe I need a little pulpit in my house. Maybe I would do better standing up. I would do better if I had things written down and planned. That is for sure. But I'm just, see that light? I'm just passionate. I believe that things that I've seen that have not grooved with normal mainstream life and church, I believe I'm here to write on some things. And they don't fit in. Bride isn't ready. This church culture, it's not that all of it's bad. I'm not saying that. It's not that, it's that they're just not. I'm glad he pulls me out. If he wants to pull me out, if he wants to send me somewhere else to another country, then he will give me the grace to do that, you know? I just can't see myself just going through the rest of my life kind of in this house or just kind of flowing in mainstream culture, trying to, no, not at all. I just can't see that. I can't see that at all. So, I want to speak to church. I just don't have the words right now. Maybe I don't have the energy, but you guys are off in it. Some churches are off. They're off on a churchy, cultural, westernized, habitual program or lifestyle. And it's not that there's not good elements of it, but there's no depth. You're missing it. And that's probably what God is doing now, is just waking people up. I'm passionate. I feel passionate. And I want God to get me there. I want him to get me there. I'm just like, I could be just as lukewarm. And in my case, it's not sucked into cultural stuff. I could live without a TV. I don't, it's not that. It's just I can have my own little comforts and desires and wants and ways of coping that make me lukewarm. So that I'm putting myself in there, but I'm speaking it out still, that even though I see that in myself, I see it. And I know it. Only God, man. God, I don't know how you're going to pull me out of this to where I want to be ready, man. I want to be ready for whatever lies ahead. One person, one of the ladies I watch on YouTube, she felt like a year or two ago, I don't know, she felt like probably at some point God's going to move me. She didn't say where, she didn't know how, when, where, whatever. But that is one thing that she sensed, that there is going to be a move at some time. And one other person had said to me a couple years back, it's going to happen fast and then go, whatever it is. And you be ready. So I'm just like, I sit in this house and I'm appreciative of what I have and everything, but I know I don't want distractions. I don't want the distractions of a lot of stuff and a lot of these trappings in life, Even though I appreciate them, don't get me wrong, It's not that I'm like some super camper who could just go out and live off the grid and, I'm just saying somehow I feel like I need to go in deeper and slim down more. He's doing it. I don't know. He's doing it. 2020, he is doing this. Even though I'm stumbling and I'm still in the Jesus Plus mode and, still me, but he is doing it. And I'm saying, Lord, make me more willing and do this, please, in me. Yielded, surrendered, really letting him be Lord. I don't think the majority of us have ever done that, really. One of the things that stood out when he couldn't go through the gates, this Howard Pittman, because that would have been permanent. He would have had to stay out of his body permanently. But he yells over the gates and he's crying out to God. And God does him really a favor in that he basically shows him there's two different people. The Howard he thinks he is not at all who he thinks he is. He shows Howard who he is and who he was. I don't think it's not that he would have not entered heaven, but he wouldn't have had rewards. His works were dead. This is a preacher, teacher, preach on the streets, visit the sick, seminary, visit people in jail guy. See, we can have dead works. I can have dead works. I hope my video's not a dead work. I just know I'm excited, I'm ignited, and I don't know. I am just not called to this. And unless I'm just really psychotic, delusional, or an escapist, or just avoiding life, but I don't even feel a call to any of this. It doesn't even interest me. Heavenly things, I mean, just, you know what I mean? I mean, certainly, there's desire to my heart to have someone to love and love me. There is that, okay? I'd be lying if I said that's not there. But even that's being refined. That's my Jesus plus problem. But I don't know. I'm just like, get me there, God. I just don't know how to go through that little hole, I can't. I guess that's all I don't know. 26 minutes. Ooh, okay. I don't even know what I've said, but I just know the church ain't ready. I just know that he's still got to work on his bride. I know that things are coming. I know that people are totally, even the Christian world has gone in these phases of excitement, but now is the real testing of where we are. Because he didn't want to just come rescue us and take us out. He wants to prune us and make us beautiful and powerful in these times, in these end times. We are fortunate to be alive now. That's why I've been fought so hard. But he's getting me there. He is getting me there. And my mom really feels like just wanting to put the stuff I put on Facebook as a part of this. It's kind of just all I got. Sitting on my tablet and doing that. That's just like all I got. There's just nothing, you know what I'm saying? There's just not a lot else. But, learning this Hebrew, I'm not just learning it because, I want to be able to speak Hebrew and know Hebrew. No. We don't even know if Hebrew will be spoken in heaven. Someone said, well, your thoughts are already automatically transferred. So, I don't know. The point is I want to get as close as I can to the raw, primitive, original, beautiful meaning of God and who we are to him and what this big picture is about. And take away some of the sterilization and mistranslations and some of our cultural and traditional. One thing this Howard Pittman guy says is, tradition, it'll come sit at your table and it'll never leave. We have to watch that. I've warned about that before. Do not make, we have a million idols. I've got an idol or two, definitely. I'm sure one of them is self. But culture and tradition can be idols too. Our denomination, our adherence and loyalty to a specific place. We can't place anything anyone says, any church, anything, the big names. We can't place anything above hearing his spirit ourselves and his word. We can take it, put it on the shelf, glean from it, spit out the sticks, but I'm telling you, we have got to be able to know for ourselves. There's no more big eyes, little U's, and the big people, and we're just going to sit there and nurse on the breast or just follow them like little dumb sheep. We cannot do that anymore. So, and we have to beware of the enemy posing as an angel of light and giving information when it's not from God. Have to be really aware of that. So, anytime we say, I could never do that sin, or I could never be deceived, that's a dangerous place to be, period. Yes, we can. All of us. We've been studied. It's like a tailor-made suit the enemy makes. There's some things he couldn't tempt me with because they don't do anything for me. But he knows what he can work on me with, or how he can hurt me. Say, he knows those places. So anyway, there was something he said, that I had read the other day when I was looking up some stuff, and it's like talking about the difference with the spirit can handle physical infirmity, but when the spirit is wounded, who can handle that? That just stuck with me. And then he made a reference to that, which was really interesting. So anyway, I'll stop there. That's 31 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's about the best rant, but